Back at Voiceville, Ocala, our special guest Rick Perry. I don't even know why he did it. I guess in a weak moment, he looked in the mirror and said, "Why not? I'll run."
No, what happened was I went on a glass-bottom boat at Silver Springs. And I canoed and kayaked up in that region for years, but it had been probably 10 years since I'd been on a glass-bottom boat. And that's when I saw the destruction of the environment down below. All the eelgrass was covered in poop or algae, as they say. There were no abundant fish species that were native other than some
Catfish, maybe, and a couple of
a lot of gar.
a lot of gar, which are unedible, basically.
And it just basically all they had was brim. There weren't even any shell cracker, and those are the ones that make the water turn blue when they eat the mussels at the bottom.
Didn't know
of
that. Nice little environmental lesson there from Rick Perry.
They're phosphorus. They're kind of radioactive.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen that football game a million times, including when I was a boy out there where they used to play with these bread balls.
Yeah.
All the great history of Silver Springs, which is fabulous, as you know. And I won't go into all my memory lane stuff because this is your time to tell us about it. But next to my mom's bed, there was a black trunk, and it had loads and loads and loads of secret things, including stacks and stacks and stacks of photographs taken, because my dad was the publicity director for Silver Springs. Movie stars, all kinds of stuff. The history of that place was, I don't know where those pictures are now, unbelievable things that happened there. People don't know. It was Disney World before it was Disney World was here. So that's another part of it. Before we get too far down that road, we're going to have to take a quick break. But tell me, again, let's get the facts. You're running District 23, seat gave vacated by Dennis Baxley, and your opponent, Republican side, is Stan McClain, who, of course, is the former county commissioner. Your position, I mean, you're telling us now because you didn't do much in the primary, because in general elections where we're going to find out more about you. You talked a lot about the waterways and about Silver Springs, et cetera. But I know you got more to talk about, which we won't get to today. But give me in your 1 minute scenario here, or 2 minute scenarios, of your message about the waterways in Silver Springs.
Well, I think the bottom line for the legislature is we have to protect our infrastructure. The big problem in infrastructure we have in this county for future economic development is our water supply, both the quality and the quantity. We need to tear down the Rodman Dam and restore the Ocala River so we can save Silver Springs to get the variety of fish we used to have, and to make it more environmentally workable. Right now, it's a dying creature that's sitting there in that little park. But we also need to develop Silver Springs as a park because itself is an economic engine, and it's a big part for Western Marion County.
Absolutely, and we can talk for an hour just on Rodman Dam, which is the politics of Putnam County and other things that go in that. But aside from that, taking back what is rightfully ours would be my first suggestion. And it seems like the state is kind of taking it away from us. And what used to be was land leased by Ray and Davidson for this facility now has been turned over as a passive state park, which you've been there, I've been there, and it's, I hate to say the former tenants, as bad as they may have been, at least had something going on out there. I'm disappointed bitterly by what I've experienced and seen, and you appear to be unhappy as well.
That's right. I just went out there yesterday to go through the park and see what was going on, and it looks to me like I just told you a few minutes ago when we were off the air that it looks like they're just creating another park that's like the boat basin down the road. They just want people to come up, look around a bit. I'm not so sure they're even supportive of continuing the glass bottom boats. It's an operation on a budget, and it's part of our heritage here in Marion County. I mean, that was our inland port before the railroads came. That's how we got our supplies, is running supplies up the Ocala River.
Well, that was a river.
Right.
Not a stream.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
But it really is something that we need to address, and quite frankly, our local legislative delegation have let us down for about 20 years. It's been since the early 1990s when there's been any real work on restoring Silver Springs all the way down to or up to the Rodman Dam, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, we look at it up.
Yeah. This is not something that's Republicans versus Democrats or vice versa.
Glad you said that, because that's exactly what I want to get to after the break, because it's not about party here. It's about local politics. So Rick Perry's in the House. He's a candidate for the House of Representatives of Florida, District 23. Much more to come with Rick after this timeout on the Voice of Ocala.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Back in the Voice of Ocala with Rick Perry. Rick Perry is a local attorney who is running for office. He's competing for the seat, District 24.
23.
Florida 23, excuse me. House, the thunder threw me off there. Florida House of Representatives, and the seat previously held by Mr. Baxley and now being contended for by both Rick and Stan McClain, who's been on this program a number of times. We figured only fair we'd have you on. Let me just ask you about two things while we hear the thunder in the background.
Okay.
Are you happy about your Gators?
So far, except for the injuries to the quarterback.
Yeah, Del Rio is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks. And Austin Appleby is the answer, at least the only one they got. He has at least an insurance policy, and he's not too bad, actually. I was talking to a friend of mine in Knoxville today. He's a writer up there. And Appleby is capable of running the offense. Whether or not he can run it for 4 quarters and that can be effective remains to be seen, but we'll talk about this in sports. Tennessee's got its own set of problems right now with its offensive line and lack of healthy linebackers. But you got to be happy. You're 3-0, like going to Knoxville. They won 11 straight years, and so as a Gator alumnus, big Gator fan, it's life is better than what it used to be.
Yep. I like to go up there and watch the people in the prisoner outfits.
Rick, I could tell some Rick Perry stories when he was in school at Florida, but I won't tell those right now.
Please.
You wouldn't go. By the way, I don't want you to tell them mine either, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Buddy's probably got a few stories when he was in college.
But I want to say this before we get started. You do a lot of pro bono work. In fact, you won this award, which I was just reading about. Out of curiosity, do you know how many hours of pro bono work? If people don't know, that means like free advice.
That don't mean that is free.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he gives his time freely to go to court and defend people.
And according to him, I have it in front of me, free legal services to low-income individuals through the Fifth Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Project and Community Legal Services. He won the award to Richard D. Custerieri. Can you pronounce it? Custerieri Award, which, Tom, we talk about this all the time about doing things in your community, about getting involved in your community, There's somebody doing that, which is it's a good thing, and we're glad that you're doing it. So, having said that, now I'm just going to rip you apart. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I won 2 others by the
really?
Florida Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah?
For the Florida Bar Pro Bono Awards it's the President's Award, and only me and one other person have ever won it twice, and that's my the other guy is my deceased partner, Bob Applegate. And,
did you have the office downtown with him? Was that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's when I first met you, when you had the office downtown.
For people that don't know, people say, I know there's people out there going, yes, but every lawyer does pro bono work.
That's true.
And that's true, but you won an award because you do above and beyond what the normal lawyer does is pro bono work.
That's right. I spend anywhere from 30 to 60 hours a year, which is like a vacation for most people.
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, a guy that has done many things in this community, including buying a stake in the historic district. You talked about the Silver Springs project and the glass bottom boats being our heritage. Fort King is our heritage, and you have your offices right down there. You stake the claim there, and how is it down on Fort King there?
Well, if they'll ever get our lights in and let us drive down Fort King again.
Yeah. What's about?
Great. Right now we don't have any real traffic can go through there. They're putting up the old-fashioned lights on the sidewalks, but me and Jim Richard bought what used to be called the Seven Sisters Inn.
Yes.
And
what's it called now?
We just call it the Seven Sisters Inn property or
okay.
whatever.
All right.
But I work out of the
next door.
Yes. The Reinauer house is in one side, one building, and then I work out of the Scott house. And I thought it was really interesting. My family came here as migrant fruit pickers and didn't have anything. And my dad was a Publix guy, and the Reinauer's chain was always at one end of our shopping center. And my mother always wanted to go to Reinauer's, but just didn't think it was. She always thought it was too fancy for her.
It was fancy. And a lot of people in this town shopped at Reinauer's. It was
Yeah.
the dress shop. If you ever reached the point where you were able to shop at Reinauer's, you made it.
Yeah.
You know, and so well, that's interesting. So I read your bio and about that, you were kind of like, what was that movie about the Okies coming through in the dust storm, Grapes of Wrath?
Yep. There is a difference in that some of us held together. The story of the Grapes of Wrath is the disintegration of families who were migrating to pick fruit, and on both sides of my family, they survived, and mainly because they sought out and kept at it with public education. And that's why everybody in my family is real supportive of public education, not tearing it apart. We're giving scholarships to people so they can go to private schools, but so we can get more money to pay teachers. You know, when my father came to Florida, they automatically put him back one grade because he came from Georgia. And most of the school systems in Georgia were practically shut down during the Depression.
My mother, by the way, was in school in Georgia, but before the Depression, and actually, I think she ended up teaching school without a high school degree.
That's
That
right.
tells you.
I have a great aunt that taught with a sixth grade education. And now if you go up in the Tallahassee area, you have people who get out of school at FSU, and they live in Tallahassee, but they teach in Georgia because they can make $8,000 to $10,000
Wow.
more a year, because we just don't pay our teachers
Wow.
in this state.
Amazing. Let's get, we only got a few minutes here, and I want to make sure I cover it. Give me the bullet points of your campaign. And Tom, I know, wants to get a question. So give me the bullet points of Rick Perry and what you, and we know about the waterways. What else do you want to see changed?
I want to do something to end the violence in this state, and I think I don't think it's productive for either side to argue about gun control one way or the other, or gun rights. I think the only practical thing we can do is to increase funding for mental health. It really saps our judicial system because we have so many mentally ill people sitting in prison or jails. They don't get really what is really health care. And they're let out on the streets, they wander around, they get a gun, they go on drugs, and they go kill people. And a lot of the violence we have today is not because guns exist, it's because we have mentally ill people who just don't get the help that they need.
We've talked about that a lot on this program. We had Ask the Cops show with both the sheriff and chief of police. That is a cycle that goes on and on and on.
Yep. And I must say, I used to be the president of the board of directors for the centers, and so I have a little bias here.
Yes.
And I helped put together the financing when the original psychiatric hospital was put together and built out on a state road, not state road, but 60th out by OBS.
It feels like state road, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I served on that board for I think 13 years. Mm-hmm. I served primarily as the treasurer, and then the last part of my first term, I served as the president when we built the psychiatric hospital out there. It's severely underfunded. We need more funding for that. It will actually save the state money and the county money because we have so many people locked up in the judicial system where it's far more expensive to house them.
It's become our asylum. It's what it's become. The jails have. And I know, aside from the obvious things that you talked about, why waste time on issues like gun control? Fix what's broken, which is the system, which allows us, which creates the problem of having sick people in jail coming out, and that's the gun control issue we're dealing with, part of it.
Right.
And so what other things do you want to touch on? Tom, you have a question you wanted to ask?
No, I'm going to ask about Silver Springs once you get
All
some
right,
of
let's
those
get this let's get this point across, and then let Tom have a
Well,
minute.
the other big thing is the three big points I want to work
Yes,
on
what
are water issues, education, public education, not private education, and mental health funding. And that's, the primary job of the legislator at this level is to make sure our county has the infrastructure that it needs. And for too long, we've just ignored the infrastructure that we have around there. Everybody knows we need roads, but there's only so much money to go around there. Most of that comes from the feds,
Right.
or the county. But the two big issues I see that we've ignored for way too long are public education, K through 12. And I think if we build the infrastructure through education, the jobs will come to us. I don't think we have to worry about giving tax breaks to large corporations. I think that's counterproductive.
Tom, you want to get one in real quick for the break?
I just want to, because a lot of people want to paint. If you're running as a Democrat, you're obviously against money being made on an entity like Silver Springs. Money being, and I want to quell the notion that you don't think it should be turned into a state habitat for bird sanctuary. You think you think there's an operating way that you could have revenue and keep the preservation aspect of it working hand in hand at the same time.
Most people would not. People who are environmentalists would not consider me an environmentalist. I'm a conservationist.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I have a gun, I have fishing rods, and I have a couple of hound dogs. But it needs to be a park that we can use. We can do that without destroying it. And it's an economic engine. When you ride around Silver Springs, there's still the remnants of what used to be a
It
good
made
little
money.
industry.
I heard it used to be see Silver Springs was a big deal. I heard that there were bumper stickers all over the world at one time. Is what I hear.
Well, I grew up down in Winter Haven, and there was only Cypress Gardens and Silver Springs, and that was it. This had far more appeal to me when I came down and jumped into the water down there, about froze my butt off. But those glass bottom boats, even today, even though there are very few fish down there, it's just really amazing.
There's a reason the Schmitz family came from Jacksonville for 1 week a year, so we could do 6-gun territory in Silver Springs.
By the way, this is a sobering note. Did you see where there were like 250 million gallons of radioactive water in the aquifer in Mulberry?
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's pretty close to my hometown. I used to canoe down the Peace River a lot, and I remember in the early '60s when the environmental regulations were very loose. And it was $50 a day for dumping in the Peace River, and at that time the big phosphate companies would dynamite their dams and just call the state and say, start charging us $50 a day.
Oh my gosh!
And it would be 10 feet up into the trees on the banks.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, and we'll talk a little more about Silver Springs, whatever's on your mind. Have 2-3 minutes to get back. Rick Perry's in the house. More coming your way on the Voice of Ocala after this timeout on
1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Who doesn't love heading out on the boat with a family, hitting the ATV trails with friends, or blazing new stretches of highway with riding buddies? Your toys are your ticket to outdoor fun. At the McDonald Allstate Agency, we get to know you and help make sure you have all the right coverages. Plus, when you bundle your coverage for your car and your home with your boat, motorcycle, RV, or more, you can save up to 30%. So call the McDonald Allstate Agency today at 622-2333 or stop by one of our 2 Ocala locations at Calla Hills or the Jasmine Square Plaza.
Subject to terms, condition, and availability. Savings vary.
Nestled in the heart of horse country, just off I-75 exit 354, the award-winning and newly refreshed Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala invites you to pamper yourself in one of our comfy guest rooms. Enjoy our free and fast Wi-Fi, heated outdoor swimming pool, 24-hour fitness center, and our deluxe continental breakfast. Other on-site amenities include a restaurant, putt-putt golf, and a car wash. Go happy, go Hojo at the Howard Johnson Inn of Ocala, proud sponsor of Friday Night High School football on WOCA, The Source.
The following is a message from the Bud Light Party.
The Bud Light Party tackles the issues other candidates won't dare touch, like doors. They push, they pull, they even slide. Why can't doors make up their minds? Is that really who you want in charge of keeping people out of your home? The Bud Light Party has an open door policy. So come on in, America, and enjoy an ice cold Bud Light. This message approved by the Bud Light Party. Raise one to right now. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
There's a car accident in this country every 5 seconds. That's why Allstate thinks it's time for an entirely different kind of car insurance, with features like accident forgiveness and a safe driving bonus. It's called Your Choice Auto, and it's only from Allstate. Are you in good hands?
You deserve better. Sign up for Your Choice Auto from Allstate. Call the McDonald Agency today at 622-2333.
Features are optional and subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Insurance, Northbrook, Illinois.
On this episode of What Not to Do, brought to you by
Mike's Got Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
I love vacations, but it's good to come home.
Is the pool overflowing?
We don't have a pool, and even if we did, it wouldn't be on the second floor.
Oh.
I told you before we left to turn off the water main.
I thought you said take down the weather vane.
We don't have one of those either.
Yeah, I was wondering why you said that. It does make more sense now.
Okay, genius, don't just stand there. Cut the main water off.
Okay, I'll go get the chainsaw.
Wait, what? No! What do we do when there's a plumbing issue?
Oh, I got this one. I'll be right back.
I said no chainsaw. Shut the water off and call Mike's Got Plumbing.
Of course, I definitely was not going for the blowtorch.
Uh-huh. The number should be etched in your memory, but just in case, 866-314-4443.
Okay, got it. 866-314-4443. On next week's episode of What Not to Do.
Really? A mariachi band?
There are only a few things in life that you can be certain will always be around. Death, taxes, the pursuit of happiness, and computers. As they continue to advance at an epic pace, the one absolute certainty about them is that they'll break. It's not an if, it's a when. And when it happens, bring it to the only company in Ocala that's certified in Apple and Microsoft. Ocala Mac and PC Repair. They even offer on-site computer repair service, so they come to you. And if you do drop it off, you can check your repair status online. Ocala Mac and PC Repair is a family-owned and operated company that can do everything from mobile repair to wireless networks, fixing viruses, data recovery, even building and installing new systems. Visit online at ocalamacpc.com. In person, 1713 East Silver Springs Boulevard, or give them a call, 352-566-8324. That's 352-566-8324. Ocala Mac and PC Repair.
Final couple of minutes with Rick Berry, running for office for the Florida State Legislature, District 23. We're going to do some quick hit questions here real fast. Tom wants to ask you one about Silver Springs. I've got one, and we'll get these in before the top of the hour.
So the commissary, not commissary, what
Time's
is,
up. Oh,
yeah, what is it? The concessionaire. Is that something that the state should do themselves, or should the county get involved and become the concessionaire?
Ordinarily, I like to see government at the lowest level handle things, but I don't necessarily have confidence at our local government. I think I'd rather see it be handled by some kind of nonprofit or some kind of local enterprise corporation set up for running it that either answers jointly to the county and the state. But we certainly need something with more input by local citizens.
Yeah, we set that up by on a committee I was in. The best of all worlds is private, when private business gets involved with government and they do it together. Let's talk about terrorism for 10 seconds.
Okay.
It's something we can't get away from. It's not just anymore in New York City. It's right here in our town, whatever. Your thoughts about what can be done, if anything, about terrorism in our community?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the citizens can make themselves as aware as possible of their surroundings, and if they, at least in Marion County, if they see something suspicious, let's jump on it. Don't be afraid to call just because you may be wrong. I don't think we need people out running around with semi-automatic rifles on their back. But there's nothing wrong if you want to keep one in your house. You're perfectly it's perfectly legal to do that.
I'm going to ask you straight up. What do you think you're the best man for this job?
Because I think I want to protect the interest of Marion County. My funding doesn't come from Big Sugar like my opponent. It doesn't come from land developers like the Villages like my opponent. I just want a decent place to live, and I've got all I want in life, and I want to make sure our community has as good a life as I've had.
All right. At this point in time, the campaign, we got 10 seconds. How's it going so far?
I don't know. But I'm having fun. We've been to the shores, door to door. Last week we were at the end of Summer Bash, met about 400 to 500 people there, and this week we're going to every festival that we can and going door to door to football games and just introducing ourselves.
Doing media with the Star Banner and on this show. So
that's right.
Rick Perry, he's running for state legislature, District 23. Thank you for coming on the radio program, Rick. Good luck to you. Maybe we'll talk again before the final election, all right?
All right.
Stay tuned. Coming up next, Buddy Sports Page, we'll talk about the new quarterback, Tom, playing in Tennessee with our friend Robbie Andrew, the Gainesville Sun, next right here on Buddy Martin Sports Page.
1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're live and local. The Source.